Yo, 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 what's up? It's another edition of the Leo G Show. I am Leo G, and we're back. We're here to talk some Atlanta sports again tonight. And I got two of my riders with me. Y'all already know what it is. I got my boy first up, my man Derrick. What's going on with you, brother?
What's going on, Leo G? You just got me crunk with that fire new intro.
Hey, man, that's what's up. I was just about to talk about it, man. Five new intro, man, theme to the Leo G Show, man. We doing big stuff, man. Shout out to Miyagi Beats for hooking us up with a new theme. I feel good, man. We got a new theme and everything, man. That sound real ATL too, man. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Miyagi Beats for hooking us up with that. And I got my other rider with me, man, none other than my man. You know what I'm saying? The man that wants all the Atlanta team. Y'all, I don't even have to say it. I'm gonna just y'all already know it already now. But the man who wants all the Atlanta teams to do what they do, man, is my man Banks. What's going on? What's up?
What's up, Leo G? What's going on with you, man?
Man, look here, man. I'm feeling good, man. We got the YouTube channel up, man. We got everything rolling. We've been talking Atlanta sports, man, and it's been really, really, really fun, man. The last couple of episodes, we got some great reviews, man, and I'm ready to roll with this thing, man. I think we're making some leeway, man, and we're gonna talk some Atlanta sports tonight, and we'll try to get into a couple other things too that I wanted to talk to you guys about as well. So, I mean, if you hadn't noticed, if you're watching us on YouTube right now, if you look, everybody has on the same damn thing. Look, everybody has on. Look at this. Yes, we all have on. That's right, baby. It's
Res-
so right. Respect the
Respect the
A.
A.
Y'all already see it, man. It's the hometown team, the Atlanta Braves. For some, they like to call them the Cobb County Braves, but I just still call them the Atlanta Braves because that's who. That's all I know. Shout out to my man Banks, and shout out to his legacy, and I'll let him get into it in just a minute about the Atlanta Braves. But so as we record this show tonight, and we're gonna drop it tonight is actually opening day. So Atlanta Braves played and MLB opened up today for opening day on April the 1st. So that's why we're rocking all our Braves gear, and we'll talk about what the Braves did in just a moment. So look, Banks, I just talked about it here, but before we get into the segment, I gotta get us hyped to talk about the Atlanta Braves. I want to talk about the Atlanta Braves. I gotta get us hyped. So let me get us hyped one time. Here we go. Definitely had to get us hyped to talk about those Atlanta Braves. So I'm gonna kick it over here to Banks for just a moment, man. Because Banks, you have a really special connection to the Atlanta Braves, man. And I think we've talked about this before, man. But I'll tell everybody what your connection is with the Atlanta Braves.
Well, what's going on once again, Mr. Leo G? My connection with the Atlanta Braves, I've been born and raised as a Braves child. I mean, it's plain further. I am the grandson of the great Walter Banks. If no one knows Walter Banks is a signature and an icon for the city of Atlanta. He's been with the Atlanta Braves since the inception, 1965, I want to say. He's been an usher at the Atlanta Fulton County Stadium since they became a team. And yes, I've been going to a lot. I mean, a lot of Braves games over my lifetime. So it's in my blood. It's in my DNA. You will probably say the Braves are my number one team, but yeah, that's another conversation about that. But um, I have real deep ties with this team, and
Absolutely.
yes, I do.
Absolutely. None other than the legendary Walter Banks. If you've been to a Braves game, chances are you've probably seen Banks' grandfather, Mr. Walter Banks, man. He's what can I say, man? He's a very special guy, very special guy to the city of Atlanta, very special man to the city of Atlanta, very special man to the Atlanta Braves. And if you meet him, you'll never forget him, man. He's a very special guy. So look, we're gonna talk a little bit about the Atlanta Braves since it's opening day. We haven't got a chance, guys, since I had you all to talk about the Braves. It's opening day. Went up to Philly today. Unfortunately, we didn't get the win today, guys. We lost to Philly in extra innings. We just talked a little bit about this off air with this new extra inning rule.
Right.
I get to you in just a second, Banks, so you can kind of explain this a little bit, though, man. I think the final score was 3-2. Braves were down 2-0 for the most part of this game, and then all of a sudden, the Panda, Pablo Sandoval, if I'm not mistaken, he hit a two-shot home run to tie this thing up. We went into extra innings to the 10th inning, as a matter of fact, and then all of a sudden the Phillies they rarely get an RBI and bring a run in the game. So, like I said, it's a long season with baseball. It's literally 1,655 games to the end of the baseball season, and we're just in game number one. Banks, so we didn't get to talk about our expectations. Our expectations, yes, I said that, fella, with the Atlanta Braves this year. But the first game is underway. Let's talk about how excited you are, Banks, and how do you feel after what you saw today?
Woo! It was opening day, Leo G. Opening day. I'm always excited for. Yes, it's just the first game. If you recall, I believe the Braves are, for the past, I want to say 20 plus years. I think the Braves are like 12-16 on opening day on the road, if I'm not mistaken. It's no big deal. We lost the first game. You move on to the next. Max Fried played 5.5 innings, and he had 7 strikeouts with 2 earned runs, which was not a bad day at the office. Just didn't get the run support to, like you said, to the big pen that came in and slapped one out to the second level. The bullpen looked serviceable until that. I think it's an awful rule with the extra innings where you have a man automatically on second base, and Philadelphia they ate on it and they beat us. So, whatever, it's just one game. We're still want to go talk about my expectations for this team. We are World Series or bust. And yes, I said World Series. We're going to the World Series. We're going to beat the Dodgers or whoever gets in our way. This team is ready to take the next step. And I feel like they got the pitching, they got the bats, they got the bullpen to do it.
Okay. I feel you on that. Derrico, man, opening day, Atlanta Braves, man. How did you feel about what you saw today with the Atlanta Braves, man? Like I said, it's still early, the first game of the season. It's always exciting, though, for the first game of the season, man. It was windy up there, cold up in Philly. Like I said, we didn't get the result. Like Banks just said, we don't really fare well on opening day. But how did you feel about it?
Well, like Bank said, it's the first game, so it was just good to be back with baseball on the opening day. So I was actually kind of peeking at it while I was still working. So I didn't get a chance to really watch it like I wanted to, but I did play some of it back when I got off. And like you said, I believe we're a good team, like we were last year. I think the problem um, that crept up with us last year maybe crept up on us again, which is situational game, like in the overtime. Well, not the overtime, in the extra innings, when they put that little man on second base. That it reminded me that when I'm at volleyball, some of our volleyball seasons, they'll spot the team's 4 points before the match even starts. So I'm like, guys, these like middle schoolers. So this is a big league functioning team, but you're gonna spot a team 2 bases in OT or in extra innings. So I just thought it was crazy.
Yeah, what's up?
Well, let me tell you, Derrico, about that. Your question on that it was COVID driven. They want these guys to play as fast as possible. They want these guys off the field, and they don't want games going into the 13th and 14th inning. Because again, they still got to be precautious about safety. With this pandemic. And like I said, rightfully so. Like I said, even the double header rules, you don't play 9 innings, you play 7. So I commend them for that, to try to get these guys safe, keep them, just keep everything in perspective that we are still in a pandemic. This is just entertainment, and it's going to get better. I mean, I think a lot of people don't like change. When I first saw it last season, I didn't like it, but I adapted to it. So, Leo, before I move on, what is your expectation for the Braves? Honestly,
Man, my expectations for the Braves are for them to do very, very well. Look, I mean, we saw what they did last year. I mean, yeah, we were in a pandemic and there were a lot of different things that happened. First and foremost, I will say this much. Just, with watching the little bit of baseball and the little bit of leeway into it that I have been, we know that the Dodgers are probably, they're looked at as probably the best team in baseball, right? All right, we took them all the way to the NLCS. We actually went up on them, but we just couldn't close the deal. So if you look at the Dodgers as being the benchmark in the National League, I think if I'm not mistaken, you look at a team like San Diego, who's also another team that's high powered and got a lot of high priced players on that roster. Then you look at the Braves. They should be right there in the conversation with those top two teams in the NL. So you got the Dodgers, you got the San Diego Padres, and then you got the Braves. I expect the Braves to win the East for real. Like every year, I expect the Braves to win the East, and this year is legit. I mean, we went out, we re-signed Marcell Ozuna. The bullpen looks good. Like Banks, you alluded to, the starting pitching should be able to carry us through. Max Fried today came out and he pitched a great game, right? Just couldn't get enough going offensively. But we got some young guys, man. I mean, you still talk about guys like Ozzie Albies and, of course, Ronald Acuna Jr. I think this team is going to be up to the task to get us back to the NLCS and to compete against the Dodgers again, because in my opinion, the Dodgers are one of the best teams in the National League and take us right there. So Banks said he already called it. Hey, we got to go to the World Series.
He said World Series or
Well,
bust.
well, don't forget about Christian Pache. I mean, this man came from nowhere last season in the postseason, and he did a hell of a good job today's game. So he's the new center fielder. If you think you guys heard, Inciarte is coming off the bench. Pache won the job, so good for him. He came in and made a name for himself overnight. This man came in and said that I'm going to go from minors to postseason to starter, and that's exactly what he did.
What's up, Derico?
Let me ask you a question, Banks. Do you think because of that rule that they have about the amount of time that you play, that he didn't play more than he probably should have last year? And you can elaborate on that rule that I didn't mention.
Well, if you're talking about the rule about the man on second, that's what you talking about?
No, I thought there was some type of rule where a player, if he played so many innings or time, that they won't. I guess it'll be money situation where they have to pay them or something like that.
No, I don't think that had nothing to do with it. I think that was more of they just being loyal to NCRT.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's just what it is. I mean, come on now. NCRT, I'm not going to trash mouth the man. The man did, he came in, he did okay, because we didn't have an outfielder at the time when we got him. He was, and when we picked him up, we were bare minimum. We were butt naked out of the outfield. So I commend him for what he did at the time. Now we got Christian Pache, and we got this other guy, and I think his name is Drew Waters, coming up. He's another outfielder. I mean, he's probably, if not better than Pache, probably the same. So we were young. Let's not forget that. Braves are a young team.
That's true.
They're hitting their stride maybe a year or two early. But at the same time, I mean, you can't knock the fact that they're good. They're good, and the pitching's coming around even faster. So,
man. I still worry about that damn number 77, man. I still worry about that damn number 77, man.
Is
he's still on the squad? He's still on the squad?
I know you ain't talking about, is that Luke Jackson?
I damn sure am talking about Luke Jackson. He still is on the squad, man. That dude make me nervous as hell.
Let me say something about him, man. He's got some kind of a vanilla folder of someone's wife or something. I don't know what it is, man. This man is still on the roster, and he's really mucking up everything. He hasn't played today, so that was a good thing. So I think they know. They know, guys. That's why he was scratched off the roster during the postseason last year. They know he's not there yet. Mentally, physically, he's not there yet. And that's another reason why also, Leo, that we probably fell short to the Dodgers, man. We just didn't have the pitching, man. The Dodgers was night and day to compare to ours. We was trotting out 3 guys every day, hopefully that our bats could get us through, and it didn't translate. So that's why I feel better about this year. We got these new guys that came in. We got, like you said, we got Ozuna back. Ozuna is a swag in himself. He came in and he brought in the stirring the pot and doing the selfie and everything. And it rejuvenated the whole team, not only the team but the fan base.
Absolutely.
It was a whole shot in the arm. So
it was fun. Like I said, like you said, Banks, man, we're past. We're how should I put this? Above the curve, I should say. We're on track to do good things. I think we're ahead of schedule. That's what I was trying to say. We're ahead of schedule of trying to get to where we need to get. And from a money standpoint, man, we're not paying guys like, teams like the Dodgers, like I just said earlier, and the Yankees and San Diego, man. We're right where we need to be. I think Philly and the Mets are going to give us, a little bit of a hard time here in the East, but I think we should have no problem with winning the East. Possibly the Mets will fight for a wild card. Philly is that oddball team, but we'll see how this all works out. Like I said, we got 1,000.
I didn't mean to cut you off, but don't forget about the Marlins and the Nationals. Don't sell them short. Them guys actually, the Nationals had a lot of injuries last year. They were just 2 years removed from a World Series championship. The Marlins, don't forget, we played them in the divisional rounds in the playoffs. So They are a playoff team.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
They're young just like we are. They just don't have I guess the bats. I don't really follow the Marlins that well, but they really turned that curve and they really surprised me last year.
Okay. That's what's up, man. Atlanta Braves. I'm gonna get one more time for the Atlanta Braves, man. We gotta, one more time for the Atlanta Braves, man. You know what I'm saying? We gonna get it for real, man. But like I said, we got 1,654 more games to go with the baseball season, man. I love baseball, guys. I really, really do, man. It's one of those sports, man. It's just, they call it America's pastime, man. For me, it's hard to watch on TV, man. But actually going to a game, man, God, it's an experience. It really is, man.
Yeah, it's a different experience.
It's a different experience, man. So I love the Braves. Of course, that's the first team here in this city that brought this city a championship, man. Shout out Atlanta Braves, 1995 World Series. What's up?
I got a trivia question that y'all don't probably understand where I got it from, but it's just to change up a little bit. Y'all talked about Sandoval earlier. You call him the Panda. This dude has about 5 names. Can you tell me what his whole name is?
Hell no.
That's something you're going to have to go ahead and pull up on your Google account, sir.
Yeah, go ahead and tell us. It's shout out to Derico with the trivia tonight. Pablo Sandoval, give us his whole name.
Pablo Emilio Juan Pedro Sandoval Jr. That's his name.
You should have threw Panda, Kung Fu Panda in there too.
I was going to ask you that, because it's so controversial, because I know it sounded like you was trying to hide from that. So that's what I was going to ask you. What do you think about that nickname?
I don't know, man. He damn sure built like a panda, ain't he?
The man is from Venezuela, okay? He's from Venezuela. Them guys down in Venezuela, that's what they do. They play baseball. Now, with his name, I can't tell you. But all I know is he came through with a 2-run jack. What was the count was 0-2, by the way, and he jacked out that ball. Yeah, that name, yeah.
And I mean, let's not forget, you know what I'm saying? He came from, Frisco, where he was very instrumental in them. I think they won a World Series when he was out there in San Francisco with the Giants. So shout out to Pablo Sandoval. Hopefully he can do this all season long. We're looking for big things from him coming in, pitch hitting or whatever. So look, we're going to move right along. We're going to keep it moving with the Leo G show tonight. We got a couple other things we want to talk about, man. I got a topic that I feel like is, I don't know, it's somewhat controversial, man, but it's come up several times, man. And we talked about this off air. So we want to move into this show. We want to talk about something that I wanted to get on air, and I haven't talked about this yet, but there was an article published in Forbes magazine back in January of 2020, last year. I'm in a time warp, man, so I'll be forgetting what year it is. But it was an article in Forbes magazine published 2020. It was called "The Decline of Football." The decline of football is real and it's accelerating. That was the name of the article, published in Forbes. Basically, they're talking about American football, obviously, not talking about world football, talking about American football and its decline. And this conversation comes up quite a bit, especially now, because there have been a lot of things surrounding American football, right? As of recently here, with over the last 5 to 10 years, we've learned a lot about different things. Um, we talked about concussions, we talked about CTE and what happens with players going through concussions and how damaging that can be, especially at the professional level. But we got to remember that a lot of these people played this sport, at a very, very young age. So I wanted to kind of get you guys' take on what's going on. I don't know if you guys read the article in its entirety, but just to give you, some of the footnotes, is we're talking about basically the decline in youth numbers in American football. And are we actually now seeing like the eventual death of American football as we know it? I mean, because we all know that with any sport, you have to see levels. You have to see it start at some level and you have to see it progress in order to get to a professional level to see it, at the product that it is, the product that we see as the NFL. You can't just have guys come in and not, play at certain levels to get there. So we want to talk about this a little bit tonight. And then also I want to kind of touch on, okay, if we are watching a real decline in American football, where do we go? So I'm gonna start out with you, Derico, a little bit, man. I don't know if you was able to read the article in its entirety, but how do you feel about the decline of football, American football in this country?
It kind of struck me as surprising that it would say it's declining instead of more so precaution from parents as far as having their kids play such a violent sport, just based on some of the things that you were mentioning as far as CTE is concerned, the concussions, and the long term effects of it. Um, yeah, to me. I just hope that's not the case. That is happening. I hope it's just parents taking more precautions or having more options as far as less violent sports.
All right. So, I mean, yeah, I totally understand. So, I started playing American football at the age of 6. I mean, that's, we're talking, I don't want to age myself, but we're talking a long, long time ago. I think I first started playing American football back in 1986, 1987. So, yeah, I'm pretty old. And that was the normal thing. You got kids in the game early because you felt like, hey, the earlier you get them into the sport, the better off they'll be. But now, like you just said, Derek Cole, man, there's a little, parents are a little leery about putting their kids into such a high contact impact sport. So, is this something that we're standing back and kind of taking a look at, or we just saying, you know what, no, I'm not going to put my kids in this? And there have been several NFL players that have actually said that they're not putting their kids in the sport as well, like because of just everything they know about it and them playing. And there's another aspect to this as well, where that the NFL has not been forthcoming with some of the information that they knew early on about concussions and
Right.
CTE. So I'm gonna pass this over to Banks. Banks, how do you feel about just the decline or the perceived decline in American football right now?
What decline? I mean, and what I took from it is, like you said, Derico, maybe it is a precaution from parents and their kids in the, for the future of the sport. But as of now, there is no decline. There is no decline of this sport. I don't see it coming. I'm gonna just be football is king in this country. It starts from high school. Well, it may start from Pop Warner, but from high school on up, it's king. I mean, even the further south you go, the better it is. You talk about Friday Night Lights, you get to Saturdays for college, and you get to Sundays for pros. It's not dying, okay? It's not going to die, and in my opinion, it would not die. a sport where I feel like this country thrives for. And that's just my opinion. I don't, when I read the article, I see what it was coming from, but I think it's like a knee-jerk reaction in a sense to what they foresee in the next 5, 15, 25 years. I mean, right now, it's not going anywhere.
Okay, look, so Derek Cole, I'm gonna pass it to you. Just give me 1 second here. Look, we live in the South. We live in Georgia, and American football is big here in the South. I mean, you got to think about it. Georgia, Florida, Texas, Louisiana, these are some of the biggest American football producing states in the country. I mean, so here in this region, the noise of the decline of American football is almost a mute point because we don't hear it. Because here it is big, it is huge. We talking about, we live in the metro Atlanta area, but we can go 45 minutes, an hour outside of the metro Atlanta area, and small towns shut down on Friday nights.
Right.
Because this is the main event. It's Friday night. It's high school football. And Derek, you grew up in Cairo, Georgia, where small town. You knew it. You saw it firsthand. Like, this is a big deal, man. So explain to people, if they're not familiar with the South and how we treat football here, man. Like, tell them that experience.
I mean, like you said, on Friday night, the whole town just shuts down because the local football team is playing. I'm gonna go back to when I was playing, which was a couple moons ago. I won't say how long ago, but you'll be smart enough to know when I say this.
They were wearing leather helmets.
Hey, like, we won the state championship back in 1990. We went 16-0, or 15-0. My bad. We went 15-0. When we drove up to Worth County to play a team that had a D1 running back, they made us travel because I don't know why. We was undefeated. We had already beat them early in the season, so we was already hot. So when we get there to the stadium, we get there like an hour and a half, 2 hours before the game starts. Half the town was already at the stadium waiting in line to get in. So that's just how big football is in the South, where the whole team will the whole county, town, everybody just travel. Even the surrounding communities, because there's only two teams left. So that means everybody in the other communities are going to travel up there to do the same thing that we're doing.
So let me say this much, man. So, like, here in the South, and I'm gonna kick this over here to Banks. Like, we know how big this is in the South, right? It's something that is just, like you said, it's in our blood. Growing up here in the South, man. At Banks, you grew up here in the metro Atlanta area. You actually played in the band at one of the most prominent high schools in the Atlanta area. Like, can you? Yeah, man. Yeah, man. That man played in the band. What's wrong with that?
As long as he played the drums.
Man, so listen, we're not even going to talk about that. That's a whole nother conversation. Look, I'm kicking it. So the experience of Friday Night Lights, Banks, like, it's very, like, it's vital here, right? It's a very, very vital part of the community and the whole structure, man, here in the South. When you talk about, like, the high schools, I mean, it's like you said, you got bands, you got everything, man. It's the pageantry is almost just as hype as, when you move into Saturdays, like you just said, talking about college football. And you get a lot of kids, like you said, by you playing in the band, they get opportunities off of, Friday Night Lights to do certain things. So, like, just how much of an impact to the community is Friday night football, man?
The people actually look forward to Friday Night Lights. It also depending, demographics, what school you went to. If you went down, somewhere like where Cairo's from, down in Syrup Maker World, they they took their band. I mean, it's not band, their football team serious. If you had a high school that didn't do that well in football, then yeah, they put more emphasis in band. But I'm gonna take a particular school in, for example, that I know of, Lowndes County, down there in Valdosta. They have a radio station that treats their team like a professional team. They have a big double-sided stadium. They have season tickets for their high school. And when Valdosta plays Lowndes County, with both schools in the same county, the whole county shuts down. Like, I'm talking about, if your house catch fire, no one's gonna put it out. So it makes a big deal of where you're from. I mean, I can't say the same for someone that's, and no disrespect to certain schools that don't do that well in football. I mean, I think people can live or die without it. If they don't have a good football team, it's whatever. But some people really look forward to Fridays on Friday night. They look for next Friday.
Yeah, that's what's up. So look, I didn't want to talk. I just want to talk and touch a little bit about the culture of football here in the South, because I want to kind of move on to another aspect of this. But Derek, you had something to add?
Yeah, I just want to say that when he brought up Valdosta, the crazy thing about it is Valdosta State University is a D2 university that plays in Valdosta High football stadium. That's how big it is.
Wow, that's crazy, man. It's it's big here. It's really, really big. So look, I want to move on to something else here. I want to talk about this because obviously I want to get you guys' take on this here. If this is in fact a decline, because like I said, it's hard for us to see it here in the South. If this is in fact a decline, where are we going with this? And I know like a lot of numbers would say, we got other kids playing other sports, possibly basketball. One of the biggest sports that I think that's on the rise and is growing is soccer here in the U.S. So if American football is actually dying, if parents are not, because I've had a lot of people tell me that it is, and I don't know how you guys feel about this. I want to get your quick takes on it. That it's kind of irresponsible with all that we know about American football to put kids into this sport. I'm gonna go to you, Derek Cole, first. Is it irresponsible to put kids in this sport with all that we know about American football, or is this just something that, I mean, there's a risk with all sports.
Right.
Are we just jumping the gun? Is it like, how do you feel about that?
I think it's more of a targeting of football because it's so popular. Um, Based on the things that I've read, soccer has more concussions than football. So if you're going to make an effort to say that it's because of concussions, then why are you not saying the same thing about soccer? Because soccer doesn't have helmets, shoulder pads, and all this other good stuff, and it doesn't look like football, if you know what I'm talking about. So that's why.
Banks, you wanna add something to that, man? Is it?
I think what it is, just to ride on Derek Cole's coattail, soccer is not really a contact, sport. I mean, yes, you can get kicked in the face, but when it comes down to like an offensive lineman or defensive lineman on line of scrimmage, they crash into each other every single play. So, yeah, I see the difference. But, you got hockey, you got soccer. I mean, hell, even lacrosse. I mean, they hit each other. So, I mean, you can't escape unless you're going to play golf. I mean, that's the only way you're going to not have contact. I mean, it is what it is in sports. I look at it like it's not irresponsible as a parent to put your child in a sport that is pretty much what it's designed to be. It's a contact sport. Would you take your child out of wrestling? I mean, they wrestling. They're contact. You can do anything to hurt each other. Look what they're doing. I mean, they put each strength versus strength.
Yeah, I mean, I play. Like I said, I played football since the age of 6. Let me tell you something, man. If it wasn't for playing American football, like I wouldn't have learned a lot of different concepts in life. I mean, American football is one of the ultimate team sports, man. You have to learn how to be a team player in that sport. And I take even to now, you know what I'm saying, in my everyday life, man, take life lessons that I learned from playing that sport for all the way from the age of 6 up into college. So like, I mean, I love it. I mean, yes, is it a violent sport? Yes. Are there some dangers with the sport? Absolutely. But I feel like it's a place here, and I feel like it's still a place for this particular sport, and I feel like all sports, there are a place for them, and we need to make sure that we give kids an opportunity to jump into everything. Derek, we're going to get you, man, and then we're going to kind of move on.
So let me ask you this, Leo. I see you're saying it like this: American football, because other countries perceive football as football, but not really. So why the distinction of saying American football instead of football?
I mean, Banks, I'll get to you in just a second. I mean, I think I have to, because of our listeners and just the way in the climate that we live in, man. I think I have to make the distinction, right? I mean, you talk about, some people like literally talk about football and being in its proper form, and we call it soccer. It's football. So I kind of make the distinction, as being a soccer fan, I kind of make the distinction between the two, American football and soccer. But you have a lot of international people, I say a lot of international fans that only know football by its proper name, and that's football. So I have to kind of make the distinction between American football and what we know as international football and what we call soccer. But Banks, go ahead.
Do you feel like, since we're the only country that calls football soccer, that maybe we're wrong? We're calling football, and we don't even use no parts of our foot unless we're kicking a field goal or punting.
So what, man? It's funny. We should, I'm gonna have to come back at a later date, man, and maybe do a history lesson on this, man, because I want to say, if I'm not mistaken, that the English actually came up with the term soccer. Don't hold me to that. I have to go back and we have to do a history lesson on how that actually all came about. But like I said, man, because we do talk about, soccer, and we do talk about American football on this podcast, I just kind of make the distinction between the two. Yeah, the way the American football is actually a kind of a cross between soccer, and then you can actually look at the sport of rugby. So it's almost like a hybrid of the two. So like the naming of all the sports and how that came about, man, maybe that's a good topic for the next podcast, man. We can kind of go and dive into that. We've dived into a lot of this article, man, and we've actually gone past the mark, but we want to come back to this, man, because there's something that I really wanted to pick you guys' brain about between, like you said, that stay between American football and actually international football, and where do we stand? And is one sport contingent on the other? Are we literally because there are a lot of people that feel like the boom of international football in the United States cannot compete with American football. And because there is a decline in American football, the next sport to blow is international football. It's soccer. So that's something else we'll talk about at a later date, because I want to move on to actually talk about some real American football, some NFL stuff here. And so we'll go right into that. So now, look, draft coming up here in less than a month. April 29th. Can't wait. We're about to head into it, guys. So look, man, the draft is coming up. On the last episode, we talked about potential quarterback candidates for the Atlanta Falcons, right? We talked about who we felt, or who we pitched guys who we felt would be good for this franchise. Obviously, I pitched a guy that you guys was like, man, what are you on? But, and I pitched it because, you know what? In the national media, and here in Atlanta, we love the national media, right? We love the national sports media and how they perceive and talk about this city. But I had to drop and talk about Mac Jones a little bit, man, because that's a name that he has obviously come up in this conversation of being in the top tier of quarterbacks, and he could possibly go as high as number 3 right now. But anyway, I digress. We want to talk about quarterbacks today. We want to talk about pro days, and I want to pick you guys' brains about if the Falcons don't go quarterback at the number 4 spot, where do we go? And also, I want to talk to you guys about who has the most pressure, because obviously you're a top 5. You picking top 5 for a reason, because you suck. So who has the most pressure of getting They're picked right at number 5. So look, we're gonna talk about pro days for a little bit and talk about the Atlanta Falcons specifically. So we're not talking about quarterbacks, fellas. We're on the clock. It's April 29th. It's Banks' birthday. He just downed a bunch of Douce. We're on the clock. We're on the clock. Had some pro days. Kyle Pitts is a name that keeps coming up in correlation with Atlanta. And it's funny because I get into that in just a minute. Jamar Chase, it's a wide receiver. His name has come up when you talk about Atlanta. Another name, Patrick Surtain, it's a cornerback out of Alabama. Alabama just, damn, they got a lot of talent over there. We already knew that. So, Banks, I'm going to kick it over to you first here, man. So, we're on the clock here at the number 4 spot. Quarterback is not an option anymore. Trading down is not an option. Nobody picked up the phone and wanted to trade down. And quarterback is no longer an option because the guys that we thought we were going to get are no longer there. Where do we go with this pick, and how comfortable do you feel with where we go?
If I'm the GM and there's no quarterback available for me and I cannot trade down, I'm going Penei Sewell, offensive lineman. Reason why I say this is because, listen, you build a team from the inside out, offensive line, defensive line, and work your way out. I'm tired of getting all these players, these skill positions, receivers, cornerbacks, but yet our line of scrimmage is soft as tissue paper. So to win football games is determined at the line of scrimmage. Do you guys agree? I mean, am I just talking in the air?
I mean,
hold on, wait. First of all, what did that desk do to you? You beating up on that desk?
Because I've been preaching this for years. I'm talking about ever since Dan Reeves been here. You win at the line of scrimmage. I don't care who's the quarterback. I don't care who's your running back. It don't matter if you can't sack and you can't get to the quarterback. End of story.
So you gonna
end the story.
So you gonna bully us into agreeing with you is what you're saying.
Well, no, I'm not. No. I'm not going to bully into you to agree with me. I'm just saying that if it was me, I'm building my team from the inside out. I'm not going receiver. I'm not going tight end because it don't matter if my quarterback is on his butt.
So, if I can segue, I'm going to go with the philosophy of our new GM. If we can't get a quarterback, well, I won't say can't get a quarterback. If we don't take the quarterback that we feel like is the best quarterback for our team, and we cannot trade down, you kind of boxed me in when you said that. So I want to just put a pin right there, Brother Leo. The only option is at that point is best player available. And the best player available is more than likely going to be a tight end named Kyle Pitts. Period. You're talking about the best player available. Not saying that that's who I would want at number 4, but if you're going with the philosophy of being BPA, then you taking that fofo from Florida and let him run through the defense.
Can I say something?
Hold on, Banks. I'm gonna get to you. Obviously, like you said, Derrico, the philosophy of our new GM is yes, best player available, and I think that for the most part, with the draft and going into the draft, there's a lot of smoke and mirrors. It is. We obviously know that, man. We obviously know that you don't want to show your hand. It's almost like playing poker, right? You want to keep a straight face. You want to look at these guys and you want to put out a lot of information. You don't want these guys to read you and know where you're going to go because it's, you want your guy to still be there. But obviously, man, Kyle Pitts is a very intriguing prospect. And Banks, I'm gonna get to you in just a second. And I want to talk about this for you for just a moment. This guy's 6'5", 245 pounds and running a 4.40. This guy is, I watched him play here in Florida. Obviously, we have a tight end with Hayden Hurst. We got a bunch of receivers, but at the same time, it's like you said, man, like the Falcons, I can't remember the last time they've drafted a generational talent. And this guy has the potential of being like one of the best tight ends, of this class and possibly of the next decade. So yes, if there is no, if our quarterback prospect is not there, if we decide not to go quarterback, man, I think this guy, obviously you gotta you have to sit there and say, you know what, man, we gotta take him. And then here's the thing: if you got Matt Ryan here as another 2 years, why not give him every weapon to have at his disposal, right? If Matt Ryan is going to be the quarterback here for the next possible 2 years, we know he's going to be the starting quarterback here in 2021. Why not give him every weapon at his disposal to try to do some things? Okay, Banks, I know you itching and dying to get into this, so go ahead. I'm kicking it to you.
How many generational talents we gonna have in the past 5 years? How many? Every year is always a guy that's generational talent. I mean, I thought a generational talent meant that you don't see him but once in your lifetime, right? Is that what generational talent means?
No,
Generational.
Nah.
generational.
Well, generational meaning that in my generations, in my lifetime, that I don't see another tight end like this ever again.
I mean, 10 to
That's what
20 years.
generational talent
10 to
means.
20
You
years.
sure? Are you
I mean,
sure?
20, 30
10 to
years,
20
man.
I
years.
mean, how many times are we going to toss this word out? Generational talent, generational talent, generational
Okay,
talent.
so
Hold on.
okay.
Wait a second. So, okay, we get this tight end, and you say he's BPA. Since when has a coach ever told you in his press conference, this is exactly what I'm going to do? What's best player available or what's best for the team? He's not going to tell you, oh, yes, we're going to draft Justin Fields. No, he's not going to do that his first day on the job. He's going to tell you what you want to hear, which is, yes, we're going to go BPA. And all behind his mind, he's like, no, I'm going to get this. He's right there. I'm getting him. Because, let's just be real. Because the best player available is Zach Wilson. At 4, are you taking Zach Wilson? With
I
that
mean,
4th pick?
that's so.
That's
Like I said, we've already hold up. So we've already discussed the fact that what we're talking about right now is that the quarterback that you want, that's on your draft board, that you wanted to get, if they're not there, where do you go at the number 4 pick, Banks?
Okay,
So
and I'm telling
if
you, and I'm saying, I'm just saying, you said BPA. If there's no quarterbacks available,
best
if
player
you can't
available,
trade
exactly.
down, if the best player available is someone like Penei Sewell,
what's so
if
intriguing
it's
about him.
what I'm saying is, it may not be your best player available, but what if it's the Falcons' best player available? If it's
I
on
just
his,
said,
if it's on, what I'm saying is, I'm just saying them as an example. I'm not saying that that's who I'm just clamoring for. I'm just saying that
I
could be
don't
the
know.
Falcons. It could be
I mean, but
Patrick
okay,
Surtain for all we know.
okay. So let's be realistic, guys. Everybody's board is different, right?
Right.
There's 32 teams in the NFL, and everybody's board is different. And we're just right now, Banks. We're just playing. Where could we go? Now, look, you got Penei Sewell, you got Patrick Surtain, you got Michael Parsons, you got Jamar Chase. There are a lot of guys. It's guys that right now that are not even being talked about right in the national media, or there's not even on somebody's draft board in the top 10 that somebody could cover. We've seen this before. I think I go back to a couple of drafts ago. There was we picked. I can't remember the pick, so I'm not even going to say it. But I do remember because Banks, for the last, I want to say 5 to 6 drafts, we have been together some way, somehow, right? We've been either together in person or we've been on a call or whatever. There was a guy that the Falcons drafted by the name of Keanu Neal that nobody was expecting. He wasn't on the mock draft board, none of that. You know what I'm saying? So we're, like I said, at this point, we're just speculating like what could happen, what could be at this number 4 pick. And we don't know. We're simply stating the fact that Kyle Pitts is that dude. Like, and I'm not no disrespect to Penei Sewell, because like the Falcons could go him too. But you know what I'm saying? We talk about best player available. We're just giving you what best player available could be. Derek Cole, I'm gonna kick it to you, man. How do you feel about Penei Sewell, man? How do you feel about who Banks is pushing?
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Is it the dude that been sitting out for a year because he didn't play?
How many
That's a question.
players have done
No,
that
no, 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 no,
already?
no, no. I'm just asking. I'm just
I
asking.
mean, okay, yeah. So what? I
Okay, okay,
mean,
okay. All right, all right. Now, I didn't know about this dude until everybody started talking about this draft. Why is that? You talking about tissue paper? You talking about
He's the best
tissue paper?
offensive tackle.
But you talking about tissue paper? Tissue paper. That dude is next tissue paper
Based
because
on what?
he's flabby. Number one, I haven't seen him do no pancake blocks. Like when you down the field, you supposed to be mauling people, but you want to
You
pick him at number
obviously
4.
have seen
You
it.
want
You
you want
obviously
to,
have
you
not
want another
seen
Jake
him.
Matthews. You want another Jake Matthews on the team.
You obviously haven't
Hey,
seen his highlight
I mean,
film.
Will, this kid is like 19. I think he's 19, about to be 20 years old. He's a young kid. He has a lot of upside. I think that's the thing we're looking at and I think with him is a lot of people are seeing his upside and his potential. I think that's what we're looking at with him. So, and that's what they're basing it off of. But Banks, I guess obviously you scouted this guy, so you feel like this dude is going to be a decade player somewhere on the offensive line.
I'm looking at him and I look at the guys we got already, and I'm already saying he's better than all the ones we got on our roster. Now let's not forget that Alex Mack is gone.
So let me ask you this. So here's the thing. If you pick best player available, guys, and I'm going to kick this to Derrick first and give me just, how important is it to have an immediate impact with this pick at number 4? Because either way, and I guess I could give you this question right here, Derrick.
Mm-hmm.
Kyle Pitts, Penei Sewell, who makes the biggest impact immediately at number 4 if you pick them?
I mean, you can't talk about a lineman and a skill player and not say that the skill player is going to make an immediate impact on your team, because no one is going to really look at the lineman and say, "Oh, well, he did this, he did that." No, as long as Matt Ryan doesn't get sacked because of that lineman, then that's the only time that you're going to hear the lineman's name. But if you got Kyle Pitts running free through the secondary and getting in the end zone, then yeah, that tight end that runs that faux, and I'm saying that like I want to say it, that faux, then yes, he's going to be the one that's going to make the more immediate impact.
Okay, so Banks, I'm gonna kick it to you, man. Penei Sewell, you're telling me that this is the guy that we need to go with at number 4 if the quarterback situation is a bust. Like, how do you feel about him? Is he gonna come in and make an immediate? Because number one, I want you to tell me where if we draft him at number 4, obviously we're gonna start him. Where does he start, and what kind of impact does he have?
First of all, he's going to start left tackle. You're going to move Matthews on the inside. He's going to make an immediate impact. Listen, I'm all about drafting for need, and Falcons need a lot. They don't need a tight end. They have Hayden Hurst already. Where does he fit in? If you somehow draft Pitts, you just gonna run out 3 tight ends out there and just hope for the best? I mean, listen, I'm not doubting the man is good. He probably is, but you drafting for what? I mean, we need offensive linemen. Yeah,
I mean, we said put like this. We said best player available. Right. So if you take Kyle Pitts, you find a way to make him work.
Okay, so you find to make him work. You tell Hayden Hurst to have a seat, and now he's pissed.
No, you don't tell him to have a seat.
No,
I mean, if you're Arthur Smith, if you're the head coach, if you're this offensive minded guy, if you bring in, put like this, for what it's worth, if you bring in another wide receiver, we got Calvin Ridley, and we got Julio Jones. Hopefully Julio Jones can stay healthy for a couple more years. But I mean, if you bring in another wide receiver, you find a way to make this work. You find a way to make it work with Kyle Pitts. You find a way to make it work with Jamar Chase. You have to find a way to make it work with a skill position player. So kick it back to you, Banks. You're talking about Penei, and I'm not trying to bash your guy. I'm not trying to beat up on Penei Sewell. I just want you to tell me what kind of an impact does it make to this team if we take him, and how big will it be?
It will keep Matt Ryan upright, and we'll have holes on that side to run the ball. Is that better? Because guess what? Okay. We couldn't do that last year. Let's keep that. Let's keep it a buck. We couldn't keep Matt Ryan upright. We couldn't run the ball. Could we not? No, Jericho? I mean, help me out, brother. I
Hey,
mean, I'm looking at the offensive line on roller skates, bro, getting pushed backwards.
hey,
What's the problem?
most of the time, if you can't run the ball, is because of that A gap situation. You know what I'm saying? If you don't have a speedster that can get on the outside, then it ain't gonna matter if you got Sewell out there at a tackle spot. Most of the yards that you're gonna get is gonna be in between the tackles, not outside of the tackle. So I don't know if you're gonna have him smashing down or pulling, which I've never seen a tackle pull too many times. So I don't know what you're gonna do in that situation.
Well, I mean, you know, not going too far off into just like philosophy, but you know, you got to remember, man, the Falcons are still trying to find an identity offensively because, like, you know, we've been a zone blocking team for so long when it comes to the run, and we all know that it takes a specific type of lineman to play in a zone blocking scheme, right? So, are we going away from zone blocking? Are we going to go to a straight more power blocking type situation, hat on hat? I mean, we don't know. We don't know what Arthur Smith's situation is and how he wants to run this offense. I mean, all we can do is speculate off of what he did in Tennessee. Um, so you know, we'll just have to wait and see. But look, we're coming up against the mark, guys. I mean, we can talk about this all day, and obviously, we're gonna definitely we're definitely going to come back and talk about this a little more as the draft gets closer and closer. Just a couple of things just to let everybody know. So when we did the last podcast, we talked about a little bit, you know, we talked about quarterbacks, but there's been a lot of movement in the draft order. Obviously, the San Francisco 49ers jumped up to number 3. Banks is just really, really, you know, stressed out about the 49ers and what they're going to do at number 3. So, yeah, I mean, there's a potential for it to go 1, 2, 3, 4 quarterback, but we just don't know. And there's a potential for it to be some more movement before the draft and on draft night. So we're just speculating. We're talking about what we're talking about. Obviously, man, if you hadn't looked up Kyle Pitts, go and Google his pro day. Go look at his highlights, and also Penei Sewell. Go take a look at him. Derico, what's up? Before we get out of here, what you got?
So you did ask this question, and since we didn't get the chance to answer it, I want you to answer it. Who do you think has the most pressure in the top 5 of this draft?
Yeah, I know, right? We didn't get it. So I didn't get to it. So very, very quickly, I answer this question. The most pressure, in my opinion, and I said this, and I'm gonna keep saying this, is got to be the New York Jets. Obviously, it's got to be the New York Jets. They have sucked and sucked and sucked for so long that, you know, the new GM. I think they got a new GM. I know they got a new head coach with Robert Salah. I want to say they got a new GM. So they got to get this right, man. Like we talk about how hard it is to be an Atlanta Falcons fan, man, but damn, you got to get this right. You know, we talking about them possibly taking a quarterback. You just took a high quarterback, a high first round quarterback in Sam Darnold. He's very, very young there. So I think in the top 5 right now, the pressure is on for the Jets. I mean, Jaguars, damn, you didn't have no expectations to begin with, right? The 49ers just jumped up there with Kyle Shanahan. They weren't really a bad team, so there's nothing there with them. So the Jets, obviously, it's the Jets. Really quickly, Banks, do you feel the same way or do you feel otherwise?
I do feel like it's the Jets, but also I feel like Jets, that number 2 pick is a very pivotal position in the draft, because if they pick any player they pick, it can change the whole complexion of the draft. If they go quarterback, it changes everyone's philosophy. If they go wide receiver, I mean, it don't. If they go whatever they pick, it's gonna determine what we do. It's gonna determine what everybody behind us do. Because I'm telling you right now, if the Jets pick anybody but Zach Wilson, it's going to be chaos on draft day. You heard it here first.
Derico, 30 seconds. How do you feel?
San Francisco. They jumped up that many spots.
They already know who they want.
But they jumped up. They got the pressure because if that dude that they pick don't pan out, it's going to be a problem.
Hey, we have to wait and see. So look, man, we'll have to definitely come back, man, and pick up on these topics. As always, guys, it's been a pleasure. We've come to the mark here of the Leo G Show, man, and it's always a pleasure. So look, Banks, I'm gonna kick it to you, man. Tell these people where they can find you, man, and tell everybody what you got going on.
Well, right now, like I said, slow motion with me, bro. You can find me at BabyBanks80 at Twitter and at the gram, and also Antoine Jarrell Banks on Facebook.
All right, that's what's up, man. So I'm gonna kick it over to Derrico, man. You tell me what you got going on and tell these people how they can get at you, brother.
Hey, I'm just trying to live like y'all, brother. So I appreciate y'all once again. I thank y'all. You can hit me on Instagram at Derrico_Virgo. You can hit me on the Twitter at VSU96SDD. And if you can find me on Facebook, it's Stacy D. Derrico.
That's what's up, man. And as always, you can hit us up on the show on Twitter. That's at the Leo G Show, the number one. That's at the Leo G Show, the number one. Also, we got a Facebook page. You can like and follow us there on Facebook, man. And always, you can hit me up on my personal Twitter account. That's at Southern Set. That's at Southern Set with 2 T's. You know, you can get at us there, man. Look, we continue to do this, man, because this is what we do. Sports is what we do, and we'll continue to do it, man. And we appreciate everybody subscribing and liking the YouTube page. Get a chance to see us and what we do, and us all rocking the Braves gear. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna kick it. We're gonna always rock with the home team, no doubt, man. So look, this has been another edition of the league. And once again, before we go out, man, on the outro, man, shout out to Miyagi Beats, man, for hooking us up with the new beat for the show. It's always a pleasure, guys. I thank you. Shout out to my before we go to shout out to my man Jay. I know he ain't been on in a while, but I'm still around with Jay, you know what I'm saying? For sure. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to him. If you want to know what Jay's doing right now, man, check him out at jjonescomedy.com, and also check him out over there on Frowntown. Also check out my man CJ. He's doing the CJ Happy Hour, sipping and tripping over there. Really good podcast, cool brother over there doing this thing, man. He's been promoting the Leo G Show, so shouts out to him, man. And like I said, I want to shout out Miyagi Beats for hitting us up with the new thing. I think it's a hit, right, Derrico Banks? Y'all like the new thing?
Yes, sir. Wax
Fire,
on, wax
fire,
off.
bro. Fire.
Miyagi Beats, man. We're going to be out, man. This is another edition of the Leo G Show.